Hey y'all, hey, we are back for the second hour of the season 2, episode 1 premiere of Sistas on BET. As I previously stated in the last video, I'm going to break it up into 2 separate videos just to kind of keep things short and sweet. Also, a little bit of housekeeping I forgot to mention in the previous video. I have since moved, got married, changed cities, whole lot going on, whole different situation. Try to make my lighting, my production setup a little bit better for you guys. Let me know how you like it, what you don't like. It won't sway anything. You'll still see what's behind me. I just got some better lighting for you guys. So, don't know why I needed to make that announcement, but I did. Let's jump back into it. Alright, so the second hour. We are back at Andy, and the FBI is confiscating everything out of her house, and she is going ham on Agent W. She's like, listen, this ain't right. You know this ain't right. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm innocent, da-da-da. Well, he has a job to do. I feel you, but I don't feel you. He got a job to do. It just is what it is. So he's telling her, Andy, stop pushing me. Go. You can't get in there. Do you want to go to jail? She's like, listen, I don't care. My stuff in here, da-da-da-da-da. So Karen is, trying to get her away from the situation. And now she has to take Andy completely away from her apartment. She's like, well, where am I supposed to go? I don't have anywhere to go. They're taking everything I have. Blah, 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 blah. At the most inopportune time, Miss Danny shows up. And she's looking for gas money, child. She done went all the way out there in the middle of Timbuktu, Chattahoochee, looking for Andy. And Andy wasn't there. The police officer, the FBI agent had already taken Andy somewhere, and Danny needed money, child, and all she wanted was her gas money for driving way over there. Let me tell you, Danny has an uncanny ability to ask the most inappropriate questions at the most inappropriate time, and I'm here for it. It just lights up the mood, and I be laughing, to be honest with you. All right, so then after the FBI is done cleaning out her house, Agent W and his team has to go over to her job, her law firm where she once worked, and sees everything in her office. And Fatima, which is Andy's ex-assistant when she was working there, goes to Andy's office and she grabs some sort of hard drive and some files. She stuffs them up under her dress and her bra. She's like, I'm assuming this is stuff that she thinks could possibly further incriminate Andy. So she takes the stuff out of the office and she takes them with her. Now, in this moment, I knew Fatima was going to be the GOAT. Fatima was like, in my opinion, her and Andy, from what I seen last season, her and Andy are not that close. They're just acquaintances, by proximity. Just by her being the assistant in the office, she knows Andy. But she realized we are the only black people in this law firm. Andy, Fatima, and then the guy she goes to church with that she's gonna ultimately end up asking Andy to help her later on in this episode. And she thought enough of Andy to see that the cops were there, garner enough sympathy to go back to her office. Still, in essence, further incriminating evidence. Take them back and put them away and let Andy know, hey, the FBI is here. I got some stuff out this office for you. I don't know if it matters, but I got you. Fatima showed loyalty. Fatima, you got my back any day, baby. If you ever want to be anybody's assistant, I don't have anything to assist for. But, whatever. Fatima came through. Fatima, that was I was like, you better do it, girl. You better help another black sister out. But, yeah, so that gave me a little tingles on the inside, a little joy in my heart. See Fatima, still look out for Andy, even though, they weren't great friends, they weren't besties or anything of the sort. But, she thought enough to look out for her because she didn't want things to get worse for Andy. She saw that things were already bad and she didn't want things to get worse. So that was, Fatima, you showed out this episode. You get to go to Cookie this time. All right. So, we go over to Sabrina's office and we see her at work, and her boss calls her over and asks her, do you remember authorizing this wire transfer? Did you get the appropriate approvals? Da-da-da. And Sabrina's like, well, kind of, sort of, it was a phone approval. And her boss let her know, like, well, you didn't follow the appropriate protocol, and now the FBI wants to question you. So you need to go home until I can figure this out. And Sabrina's concerned about the fact that, okay, am I being fired? And she's telling her, just, you're not fired. Just go home until we figure this out. So now Sabrina has to go home, and she's been brought into this whole Gary Andy fiasco, unfortunately. So everybody's already at Sabrina's apartment and taking many bottles to the head because everybody's stressed out. Everybody's got a lot going on. Everybody except Danny. Everybody has a mini crisis happening at the moment. But everybody's getting drunk and they're just like, you know what? I'm drinking my sorrows away at this point. All right, so Sabrina shows up a little later and tells them what happened with her boss. And then she finally tells the girl everything. And then Andy finally tells the girls everything that happened between her and Gary and how we got to this point. Because at this point, only Karen was privy to everything that was happening. So Sabrina is, she real mad. She mad because she could possibly lose her job on account of no count Gary at this point. And in this scene, I kind of seen where the tables kind of turned because Karen was the voice of reason this season, whereas Sabrina was the voice of reason last season, in my opinion. So you know, they're talking and they're just kind of figuring out what's going on with Andy, and then Danny notices out of nowhere all the blood that's over Karen's pants, and she finally tells them what happened with Zach and everything that happened with the preacher's brother-in-law and da-da-da-da-da. And now everybody is privy to everything that's happening with Karen simultaneously. So yeah, everybody's, and then once Karen tells her so, she's like, all right, give me a drink too. Like, all right, so we all getting drunk. Let's just do it. Fuck it. We all going through enough right now. So Andy goes in the office to reach out to somebody or another. I forgot, yeah. And Danny wants to know, what is the big deal? Like, what's the dollar amount, Sabrina? How much was it that was authorized into Andy's account? And at first Sabrina's like, you know, that's confidential information. I can't tell you. And then she was like, fuck it, shit. I'm basically about to do my job anyway, so let me just tell you what it was. The amount that Gary had, oh God, I'm kidding. The amount of money that Gary had transferred into Andy's account was $14 million. $14 million. And at that point, Danny just said what everybody else was thinking, oh shit, Andy going to jail. My friend about to go to jail. And I would have said the same thing, like, girl, $14 million? You only a lawyer. You ain't like Johnny Cochran or nobody, girl. $14 million? That's the naivety of Andy. You did not even double check how much he wanted to sit in your account to avoid being brought into the divorce settlements. No, if it was $14, baby, you keep that in your account. You and Jasmine, y'all figure that out. Don't put shit in my name until that is resolved, my nigga. You feel me? So I don't know how this is gonna work out for Andy. I know it's gonna work out by nature of the way, and I'm assuming these Tyler Perry shows work out. But $14 million, I'd have thought you was guilty too. Shit, if I was Sabrina, I would have thought you was guilty, and I would have never did it just to see the number that was coming through. With you being my best friend, and I know how much you make, I know you ain't $14 million making it. Girl, I would have never signed shit. You crazy. Either way, Andy calls Fatima, and she tells her about the FBI and tells her that she's gonna play dumb. And Andy's like, well, you don't have to play dumb. I'm innocent. And again, Fatima is still coming to bat for Andy. Like, listen, I know that you're saying that you're innocent. You possibly are, but anything that I say could possibly further incriminate you. So I'm just gonna play dumb. Again, looking out for the sister. Like, I don't care if you're innocent. I'm not giving them any ammunition against you. Precisely. Come on, Fatima. That's what I'm talking about. You better do it, girl. Because you did that. Because I was just a little bit sitting there looking crazy. Like, Andy, these people are looking for you. I mean, because you barely know her, so you don't really have any obligation. You don't have any loyalty. But just by way of being a black woman in common, you showed up and showed out for your girl. And I, for one, appreciate it. Appreciate you, girl. All right. So, she had cleared the hard drive. She took letters that Andy was writing back and forth to Andy. First of all, why would your love letters be at your office? But, okay, girl. All right, so Zach is at Karen's cleaning up his blood, and Preacher Dude comes walking in looking for Karen, and him and the Preacher Dude get into this who has the bigger balls match. You know, I'm here killing my own blood because of you. You know, you always have good intentions, preacher guy, but shit always ends up going awry, which I agree with Zach. You know, you always didn't mean to do some shit, but shit that continues to happen. And in this moment, we also realize that the Preacher Dude shows up when he gets ready. He don't call, he don't text, he don't tell nobody, he don't send a carrier pigeon, a message in a bottle, or nothing. He just shows up. which is a thing. He just pops up when he gets ready. Why don't you just show up to this lady's house? But whatever. So now they lightweight arguing, and then Karen calls Zach to her, you know, I'm gonna be staying over here at Sabrina's. Can you bring me some clothes? And Zach tells him, sure, I can bring you some clothes, no problem at all. And then he tells Preacher Dude, I want you to get out, but before you do, you're gonna take me over to Sabrina's house to give Karen her clothes. And I'm assuming this is a ploy for you to confront Kim with both of them there in the situation, because you are still calling on Zach to go upstairs and rescue your phone from the crime scene, to bring you close from the crime scene, to clean up his blood from said crime scene. All of this, and you still want the preacher guy. So you're going to have to come to some type of reconciliation, you know, make a choice, whatever's going to happen in the next season. All right. So they're on the way to bring clothes over to Sabrina's house for Karen. Both of the guys together in the same car. All right, so we go back to the office, and Fatima goes to Hayden. Hayden, which is another, he's a black guy that works in the law offices as well. And he says, I don't really want to get in that. Like, I see the FBI's here. Maybe she is guilty. And Fatima's telling her, like, nah, you can't do that. She's innocent. You need to help her out. We're the only black people at this firm, and, you know, you need to look out for her. And she lightly blackmailed him in the helping Andy by way of, I'm going to call your mama and tell your mama. So I assumed initially, like, hey, you know, y'all used to knock each other off, or y'all cousins, something like that. But I guess ultimately they just go to the same church together. So yeah, they go to the same church together, and I guess by way of going to church, if you go to church like many other black people, you go Wednesday night, Sunday night, all day Sunday, Thursday. You go to church a lot, so your church family is basically like your real family. So you like, I'm gonna tell Mother Belinda, if you don't help her, because we done known you since you were a baby, and you could do me this solid, basically. But then it gets a little weird, because if she's walking that way, Hayden is kind of getting real bedroom eyes on her, like, okay, now you know you owe me back, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, sure. Got pretty weird, but okay. Moving on. So we've secured a tax lawyer for Andy to comb through the situation. Good. All right, so Calvin shows up at Maurice's, and Maurice is joking around, telling him, you know, what he feels like, and Calvin wants Maurice to stop joking about the situation, stop masking his pain with comedy, and just to tell him, like, how are you really feeling? And he tells him, like, I kind of know how you feel, because my dad's went through similar situations with being, you know, a same-sex couple as well. And you know, Maurice is like, you know, just by way of being gay, I've had this happen to me before. I'm okay. Da da da. And Calvin offers him to a night out on the town, just so that they can kind of get over what they're both going through, which is a nice gesture. But in true Maurice fashion, it wouldn't be a scene if he didn't try to take down any man that's within 5 feet of him. And Calvin's like, nah, my dude, I'm good. That chocolate I bought you in that box, that's as close as you get to chocolate. So yeah, so that dispels all of the gay rumors about Calvin. He's just a little feminine. It is what it is. Wraps that up in a pretty little bow, I guess. All right, so we are back at Sabrina's, and she tells the girls that Calvin told her he loves her. And they're talking, and Andy realizes it. And, you know, they're kind of asking her, well, how do you feel? She's like, well, I really, really like him. She never said she loved him, but she said, I really, really like him, which is fair. I mean, you're allowed to love somebody when you get ready, child. Whatever. So they continue to talk, and Andy realizes that all the evidence is at her house. And this evidence is the evidence that the private investigator showed her, where Morris and Jasmine were setting him up. It was the packet that the private investigator gave her, but that paperwork is at her house that they've now confiscated everything from. So Andy calls Fatima yet again. Here comes Fatima to the rescue, and she tells her, you know, I can call Leslie for backups. I'm sure she has backups. So she's going to be able to reacquire that evidence by way of Fatima looking out for the kid yet again. All right, so as we're sitting here, we realize that you're going to get this evidence, but this evidence further exonerates Gary. So Danny asks Andy, like, why would you even want to help Gary at this point? After everything you've lost everything, your home, your job, your savings, like everything is gone. Why would you want to even help Gary? And in that moment, we didn't get an answer because Gary calls Karen's phone from the jailhouse saying he's been looking for Andy, and him and his lawyer trying to get in touch with Andy, and she really needs to hear what they have to say, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, all the girls are just listening to the conversation on speakerphone, and, you know, Danny's just asking a bunch of questions like, who do you think my friend is? You got her fucked up. Exactly, Danny, because my friend is too bad to be dealing with the shit that come with you. Basically is what Danny was trying to tell him, and Andy's just sitting there like a little sad puppy on the ground, and she's trying to get to the phone, and she want to talk to Gary so bad, and it's just pathetic at this point. But yeah, so he insists that he's still being set up, and Andy is dying to talk to him, and she's dying to get to the phone. She eventually gets to the phone, blah blah blah. So that is the second hour of the season 2 episode 1 for now. That is the second hour of the season 2 episode 1 premiere of Sistas on BET. So things are about to get interesting. See if I can make some predictions. Let's see. So I am of the notion that Gary is innocent to some extent, right? And that Jasmine and Morris, hell, maybe even the private investigator, are in cahoots to set him up to. However, I can't get the years worth of racketeering type of, how do you create that type of trail? You gotta be real good. But you gotta remember, Morris is also a lawyer, and you know, Jasmine probably know a little bit of people to do something too. So possible, yes. Likely, So predictions. Let's just say, Gary is innocent. Andy gave up on him. I won't say prematurely, but she gave up. And maybe she went back to that guy from last season that she was feeling. Karen is going to end up back with Zach, because the preacher dude is going to prove himself to be a little hostile, because he's giving me real domestic violence tease in the last season. So that's my prediction for that. I think Danny is going to continue being insecure to the fact that she's going to push Cowboy away, and she's going to lose it. Sabrina and Calvin are going to run into another obstacle, because now he has told her he loves her, but she did not return the sentiment. So that's going to be another conniption for those two. All right, so those are my predictions. That's it. So we will see you. Well, I will see you in the next review. And thank you for coming back. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do what you want to do with that information. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.